welcome to part 2 of our separation anxiety series. Last video we talked about the differences in figuring out if it's separation anxiety or isolation distress, so check out that video. There is a link in that description to a longer blog entry that really breaks it down even a lot more for you, so that's pretty neat. For part 2 here, we're going to talk about how we change this behavior. Hi, I'm Cece Bourgeois, certified separation anxiety trainer, here to help, and I hope this is helpful for you. So changing the behavior is first looking at our specific dog's needs. Usually with separation anxiety or isolation distress, these are considered a syndrome, meaning there are several behaviors happening consistently when left alone that are heightened beyond the scope or abnormal compared to another dog's reaction. So I have a few notes here that I'm going to be referencing because I'm human, but I want to make sure I give this to you really clearly. And I'll have a full description of this video in our second blog entry that goes along with it, and that'll be in the description as well. So in taking a deeper dive into how we change our dog's behavior when left alone, the key to long-term improvement and success is to change the dog's emotional state, and therefore those outward behaviors that you're seeing when your dog's anxious or stressed, those will simply go away if we change their perception of how they feel about being left alone. One thing I noticed in my research and in study is that this is very much the way that psychologists today treat behaviors in humans. They understand that in order to treat it correctly, the patient needs to be under their stress threshold, so not stressed, and to gradually desensitize them. So desensitization is the key here. The official definition is to make a sensitized or a hypersensitive individual insensitive or non-reactive to a sensitive agent or stimuli, which in this case is us leaving them alone. So we're simply going to change that. But the key, again, like I said, is gradual desensitization. It is a great time, though, to have a dog with separation anxiety. This is the most researched topic in the dog world. For those of us geeks who like to help people with this, we comb over tons of fantastic research and some solid studies that help guide us in a really clear path on how to do this. And the success rate is very high, so take comfort in that. You can make progress, but it is a very gradual process. And we need to do it gradually because if we take our dog over their stress threshold and they're consistently experiencing stress and we're pushing them too far, they're going to continue to associate our absences with that feeling. So in order to change it, we need to practice and gradually increase time when we're away. Think of it this way. Your absence is your dog's trigger. In the case of separation anxiety, it could be the primary person or people that live in their house visually leaving. They see them leaving. It could be the sound of them walking to the car or starting the car. It could be the length of the absence. So there's other contributing factors. It's not just you being away, right? There are things that lead up to that that might trigger them and start the stress before you're even out the door. It could be things like what items you pick up or put on before you go out the door. Each individual dog really needs attention given to their specific triggers, listing them out, figuring out what's the highest trigger, what's the lowest trigger, and then systematically starting to desensitize them to those as we extend time out the door longer and longer. So one thing that I see a lot of people try when they attempt this is they will walk out the door and then they will come back in and quickly go out the door for a longer period of time, come back in, and then go out for yet another longer period of time. One of the tips I want to impart to you today that most people aren't aware of is we need to, in the desensitization process, kind of ping pong back and forth between being out the door for a really easy amount of time, 2 seconds, let's just say. And then you come back in the house, take a break for a little while, just maybe a minute, and then attempt another departure, only slightly longer. Again, just throwing out there 5-7 seconds. It all depends on your dog. But then when you come back, that ping-ponging it back to an easier step of a departure. So maybe you go back to 2 seconds, or maybe you only increase it to 3 from the original 2 seconds you're out the door. So easy step, harder step, easy step, harder step, and with breaks in between. This allows your dog to decompress, take a breath, realize, oh, I survived that. That was interesting. I didn't have a meltdown, and then try the departure again. Initially, I believe it's best to really start low and solid. And even in the first week of working on this, it might be very much like watching paint dry. But if you can get your dog in this really calm state where they're almost literally bored with your walking in and out that door, and it comes to a point where they feel almost and look at you as if you're interrupting my nap now. That's what we really want to see. If you can build that foundation in the beginning of this is not an event, this is not a big deal, your dog is going to have a lot of strong foundation built to extend that out. It does take time. We're not talking years, talking months, and dedicated commitment to it, but it's entirely possible. You can get your life back. Your dog can be safe, confident, feeling relaxed, and you can move on. So I hope that was helpful. Again, check out the blog, linked below. Next time we're going to talk about another big piece to the success, which is management. More later. We are talking about how to change